Welcome to the Screen Time Continuum. It's a wonderful Wednesday. We are here getting into the holiday season and bringing you guys the nice holiday movies, bringing them early into the season. I don't know if it's really early in the season. Maybe I want to take that back because we're already in December. We passed Halloween. We passed Thanksgiving. Yeah, we're about the midpoint. So we're right on time to bring you guys some good holiday cheer. And that's exactly what we're bringing you this evening here on the Screen Time Continuum. Before I tell you guys what movie we are viewing, yeah, I'll give you a tip. It's the number one holiday movie showing right now on Amazon Prime. If you can figure that out before I get to the actual name, that's on you. If not, we'll get to that in a minute. But I am here. My name is Keelan, and I am with the fellas. Nick, Mike, how you doing, man?
It's also on the screen, so I'm sure that they could probably find out.
No, no. They're not looking at that. They're looking at our faces. They don't see
Oh,
us. They're looking
okay.
at our
Yeah.
faces.
Right. Good man.
What
How
it
you doing?
do?
Yeah, all right, fine. Yeah. All right, I guess. I'm even sitting here like I guess I went overboard with that one. Yeah, we are. We're definitely reviewing Candy Cane Lane as you guys can see on the screen. But yeah, no, it does well, Mike. I heard you ask what it do. It does well. Just I don't know. I think I'm a little excited. I might have enjoyed this, but it's not first impression, so I can't tell you guys that yet. But yes, we are here to review Candy Cane Lane, which is a movie that is currently showing on Amazon Prime. I don't have the exact day it came out, but I'm sure I'll get a little bit of help with that in a moment. Let me give you guys a little bit of what I have because it's very rare that I have information, seeing as how I don't have the ability to roll my screen. And if I try to leave this particular page or if I leave this particular setting I'm on right now, you guys will probably lose video feed if nothing else of me. So I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do is I'm going to let you guys know right now. This is your spoiler warning for the Candy Cane Lane movie. I know it is a fresh movie. It did not come out a month or two ago. I just don't know exactly how many weeks it has been out. So this is your spoiler alert. This is your spoiler warning. We do. That's a siren. Get out of the way. It's time for you to get off. And if you're still here after I'm done with that, then you wanted to find out what we have to say about the movie Candy Cane Lane, which is starring Eddie Murphy, Tracy Ellis Ross, Jillian Bell, Nick Offerman, Robin Thede, Chris Red, and DC Young Fly, I think, are all of the initial notable names off top. And then you'll add some of the other characters like the daughter, the children, the news anchors. There's not a lot of characters to this movie. It's all pretty central. But I also know it's directed by Reginald Hudlin. And I think that is the end of the information I currently have on the movie. But, I tried, as I always do every week. Hey, Nick, can you help me out with the rest of the information for this?
Sure, man. It came out December 1st, so just 6 days ago. And it is directed by Reginald Hudlin, like you said, and it's written by Kelly Younger. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Nick Carver and Holly Carver play the two younger children. And, oh,
Oh,
I'm
no,
sorry.
those are their names on
That's,
the, yeah.
yep. Thaddeus Mixon is Nick Carver, and Madison Thomas is Holly Carver. We also have Janaea Walton as Joy Carver. Those are the three kids.
Nice. Cool deal. Well,
And
yeah, with
I can
that,
give
yeah,
you the
go ahead.
tagline too. A man is determined to win the neighborhood's annual Christmas decorating contest. He makes a pact with an elf to help him win, and the elf casts a spell that brings the 12 days of Christmas to life, which brings unexpected chaos to town.
Okay. Well, per the usual. I love when they don't have the same plot or tagline in different places. This one is very, very, very similar. I think they just reworded. Again, to me, I'm still trying to figure it out. Is there like, do they do press releases with like, hey, this is the ballpark in which I need you guys to put the plot line up and they create their own, or what happens, or they're just a bunch you can choose from? The one on Amazon Prime, which this is an Amazon original movie, says Eddie Murphy stars in this holiday comedy adventure about a man on a mission to win his neighborhood annual Christmas home decoration contest and inadvertently makes a deal with a mischievous elf that brings 12 days of Christmas to life. So pretty much the same, but they did word it a little differently. I think I like the one you gave more because it almost gives more detail as to what we're getting into. But I think the one that's on Amazon Prime would be beneficial for marketing purposes, just to get people into the door. You know what I mean? Uh, but hey, I always have thoughts on the taglines. I don't know why, but it's a thing. Um, with that being said, let's get into our first impressions. I can start with that. I enjoyed this movie. I was not really ready for holiday movies, and then I saw this trailer, and I remembered I had already seen the trailer before it had actually come out, and I thought to myself, I guess I'm in the mood now for holiday movies, just that quick, because I started looking for films to watch this particular or for this episode, and I was like, I don't want to do holiday yet, but I saw this trailer and was like, never mind, holiday it is. Um, it was fun. It was a nice ride. There were a couple of things that was like, wait, what? But then you remember that most family movies make you do that about 2 or 3 times, and you overlook it because that's kind of the nature of the movie. We're here for a fun thrill ride. We're not really here to overthink the plot line. And we didn't have to do that. This movie does not take you on like too wild of a ride, but it definitely takes you through some ups and downs, but it's fun. Like I said, the whole time. The main thing for this movie to me is fun. They tried to make it as fun as possible, and I laughed a good amount of chuckles. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much my only. Yeah, I liked it.
Fair enough.
I liked a lot of stuff about it, but I liked it. How you
Okay.
guys feel?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was entirely too long, to be fair. Entirely too long. I mean, they could have got to the point long. I think there's at least 30 to 40 minutes more than it really needs to be.
Mm.
And that's my major criticism for the entire movie. I mean, there's a couple of things that I took small issue with besides that, but that's my biggest criticism. It's just entirely too long. Eddie Murphy's always hilarious. I thought, you know what? I did have one other small issue. I thought they made everybody look extra old. Usually when they do makeup on these movies, they try to soften their age out a bit. Eddie and Tracy Ellis Ross look so old.
It was lit well.
Is that what it was?
Thank you.
That's the problem.
I promise you say that, Mike, and what I was thinking the whole movie is, wow, we actually get to see people.
Right. Yeah. I don't have to squint at something and try to make out black outlines.
Is that what? Because I was like, man, 4K did a whole lot of people some injustice.
Yes, it did. Yes.
Oh yeah, you find so what 4K has honestly done is it's given the consumer the ability to see what people look like even with the makeup, without the makeup,
and in unnatural lighting that makes them look as terrible as possible.
Right. Because I was thinking Eddie and Tracy, they look their age and they don't look like they should be having little kids like that. Neither one of them.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy did not look that as old in You People,
right?
Last year,
right? He didn't look that old in this one.
Yeah,
man, he looked like he didn't probably have some work done.
The difference between Amazon and Netflix. Netflix is trying to hide it. Amazon won't give you the real.
Like a pyroclastic flow to the face, huh?
Yep.
Hey.
Yep.
I keep coming back to that.
That was on HBO, wasn't it?
No.
Amazon.
No.
Rings of
Definitely.
Power.
Yeah.
RAW.
But those are the time length is my major criticism. The makeup was kind of like my minor. I took some other small issues, but nothing really worth noting in the initial review, because I did actually like the movie. I thought it was pretty funny. It had some really good story, some pretty good funny moments. Story was pretty good. Kept me pretty engaged through most of it, but I ain't gonna lie, I started getting bored like towards the middle. It's like, this is too long. It's just too long. But I enjoyed it, so there we go.
Nice. Nick? There were some other things I just thought of adding, but I want Nick to give his.
Okay. Well, at the risk of having our first impressions being too long, I will say I agree with both of you guys. I think that it's a fun family movie. I think it's good. Is it memorable? I don't know. The story is original, which is nice. I found that pretty
Finally.
refreshing. Yeah, like it added something new to the Christmas canon, which I think is good. I think that the CGI for the little figurines looked really good. I think that looked excellent. I didn't find it all that funny. I think I was supposed to be finding the elf funny, but I thought that she was kind of the weakest part of the movie. She was being a little bit overly hammy about her performance. But yeah, my biggest critique too is that it's 2 hours long. This should be an hour and 30. For sure.
If that.
Yeah. If that.
Indeed.
This should be a holiday special type thing.
You know what? I didn't
Yeah.
really like the special effects all that much. Like the
I thought-
initial opening scene with the
Oh god, that was bad CG. The opening scene. At the
Yeah, I
beach.
think the figurines look the best. They look
Right.
really
Yeah.
good. But yeah, everything else I couldn't comment on. The ducks and the chickens don't look that great. Yeah.
no.
they looked comical to me. That just
Yes,
was
much more
supposed to be comical. Yeah.
Mhm.
You're done.
Yeah, that's it. Sorry. Yeah.
No, I just wanted to two things I meant to bring up at my first impressions after talking about the people that are in the movie, the pentatonics. They're like a
Pentatonics, yeah.
acapella groups. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh.
That's who the carolers are. So I thought that
Okay.
was kind of cool to like, oh, they're a real life acapella group. And I thought about it like, wait, I've heard of them before.
I've never.
I don't think I ever listened to them. Apparently they make a lot of gospel acapella and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. And a
They're
lot
like
of
the most
R&B stuff.
famous acapella group. Yeah.
I figured that once I looked them
Yeah.
up. I was like, oh, I guess that's why I've heard the name, but I guess I'm sandbagging it because I had never heard or seen, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But also Candy Cane Lane is a real place that
Yeah.
people outside of LA probably would not know about, and people outside of California probably have never heard about.
I actually think that most neighborhoods or
Has a candy
towns
cane lane.
have a candy cane lane. Yeah.
I would love to.
I had
to
never heard
know
of it.
that. Yeah, I would love to know that honestly, and I think that would be really cool to find out that that's the case.
Mhm.
But when you type in Candy Cane Lane on Google, it comes up as El Segundo, like Candy Cane Lane, El Segundo, California. It's like
Yeah. See, the
Yeah.
thing is, there's also one in Ventura. So like
And-
there's
and that's the
multiple.
thing is we have one in Torrance and El Segundo.
Mhm.
Those are right next to each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's usually like the rich neighborhood that does all the lights. That's what
Right.
Candy Cane Lane is. Yeah.
And the most popular one that I know of out here is the Torrance one. That's the one that makes the news every year. And all that.
Oh, I mean, I think I mean
That's
to
like
say
an event.
yeah, Woodland Hills. There's one in Woodland Hills.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
Hey,
I think that one might be my old school.
Where'd you go?
Oh, tell us you
Elko.
went to a nice school,
El
Mm,
Camino.
El Camino College?
high school.
No, El Camino
Right.
Real High School, class of '98.
That's what I'm
oh,
saying.
shit.
He went to the Real. You know what I'm talking about?
Now I have all of your personal information. Thank you very much.
Go ahead, I don't care.
Can't steal what I don't have.
You can have all my bills in debt.
Yeah.
Man.
Enjoy it.
And the last thing I wanted to add about the real Candy Cane Lane before we jump into the movie, I was also told that not only was Candy Cane Lane, or the Torrance Candy Cane Lane, which was considered Black Candy Cane Lane, they gave like hot cocoa and stuff to people, and there was carolers out there. It's like a whole event. And I
That's
personally
cool.
never got
Yeah,
to
there's a
experience it,
parade
but I
and
heard
everything.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So it's like everything in the movie is indicative of real life events. It's just like you said, Nick. Because there are multiple ones. I'm more curious now as to why we don't hear about more than just the ones probably closest to our areas.
I think it's kind of like Halloween. So like a couple streets away from us in our sort of neighborhood block, this one street just goes crazy for Halloween. They had gigantic mazes and haunted
Oh, wow.
houses, and every house was lit up. So they're the type of people that would create a Candy Cane Lane, and it's really
And
just
why
like
are
a
we
whole
just
bunch.
now hearing about it?
I mean, you guys can come over next time. Yeah. They go all out, man. It's incredible. Like we have very modest decorations, but man, some of our neighbors in the greater area, lights and all that stuff. So
Yeah, that's
They
a
be out there
big deal
talking
over
about,
by
I
the
gotta
job.
expend.
mhm.
Look, they be sitting there talking about, I got play money. Now let's
No,
play
man, you think about it, like these people have gathered those decorations over like 30
over
years.
years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
I'm
funny.
starting to get the entry with it because we just started like decorating for Halloween, and I'm like, oh, I see where this is headed. In like 10
Because you don't throw
years,
any of them away.
yeah, in 10 years from now, I'm gonna have just like Eddie Murphy does on his lawn, all the decorations that I've amassed. Yeah,
The ones
Hand
that you
carved
purchased
though.
and bought.
not
Yeah,
hand
because
carved.
he
No.
apparently made majority of his, which was
Yeah.
pretty cool. Okay, so yeah, let's get into that. So yeah, so that's, I wanted to make sure I bring up the real Candy Cane Lane and all of those things because I think that's really cool and clearly the real inspiration for this movie. And
Yeah,
if it's
I
one
did.
thing this movie did its best to do is to kind of give you something to relate to. And I don't know if it did that for everybody, but I think they rounded the bases pretty well.
Mhm.
We have a comment here from Ayla. Ayla says, no. Nick said we were too old to enjoy Halloween on that block. You know
Yeah,
what, Nick?
I said that I wasn't going to wait in line with a whole bunch of 6-year-olds to go into the haunted house. Yeah, I did say that.
You know
That
what?
was
And I
me.
just caught the tone on that. It wasn't no, it was no.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that's funny. Hey, I'm waiting behind the 6-year-olds. What's wrong with you?
There you go. To each its own.
Jeez.
When you
They
put
get to
it
go
that
first,
way
though.
though.
They get to go first though, so they can show me where all the monsters are.
Right. I remember that.
Oh yeah. You don't get
Um,
scared at anything though. That's why you're a good human shield.
Me?
No, Mike.
Oh,
He's
Mike?
the best
Oh,
human
yeah.
shield in those haunted mazes because nothing phases him. He just walks around. There's monsters jumping from every corner and he doesn't even budge. So I just
Just
walk
Mike
right
is
laugh.
behind him.
daring them.
I walk in
Mike
his
is
wake.
right. Mike is daring them to touch him. Mike is really walking around talking about touch.
Nah, it's too funny to be challenging people. It's hilarious. Watching
You
them
just,
people
yeah, you
in
have to
front
be
of me
like a
get scared.
remora. Yeah, you have to be like a remora around Mike as a shark. Just like walk right
Absolutely.
behind him, and none of the monsters will scare you because they've already,
That's
already done it.
hilarious.
Yep.
They've done it. They're through with it.
Yeah.
Nothing's better than walking behind a group of girls who are easily frightened
Oh yeah. You'll never be scared. You'll just be chuckling the whole time.
the whole time. Nothing.
Uh,
You know what? You know what's even better than that? A tough guy. A tough guy who can't handle those mazes.
Man,
Oh, I
love
Hilarious.
seeing. All right.
Yes.
That's where we gotta stop before I start getting into stories because I got story time about tough guys at these places.
Right.
Mhm.
Because man.
You know what we found out is that Shacktoberfest is just the Queen Mary rebranded.
Yep.
Yeah.
I did not know. No, I didn't. It's Dark Harbor
didn't know that.
rebranded. I had no
We
idea.
didn't- we didn't know that.
I thought it was a trunk or treat thing for kids.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We were all on the same boat. I want to say you were the one who found out, and I literally just had that discussion with someone. I think today, and I was
Mhm.
telling them how we just found that out, and I'm like, found out late, but next year we're there
Mhm.
because we thought the Queen Mary was done for.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did the Queen Mary like a month ago. On to Candy Cane Lane. Because I was about to start talking about the Queen Mary, like man,
Yeah.
because the Queen Mary got. The Queen Mary does probably have a Candy Cane Lane type situation going on around the Christmas times. Maybe we should go check that out.
You know what they
But-
do have? A haunted tour. We watched a 2-hour
It was
commercial.
a 2-hour movie about it.
You know what? This movie is too good for us to do this. Don't do this to this. Don't do that to this.
It's getting real loosey goosey around here. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And so here we are. We get into the jump into the gist. And we meet Chris. Chris is the dad of the Carver family, and him and his neighbor Bruce, they are competitors because it's that time of year. It's time to jump into the holiday cheer. And yeah, they're ready to compete, which is what they do every year. And apparently Bruce is the reigning champion. But then you have Chris and Carol, and they're having this issue with their kids that they're all trying to figure out. Like they're just having these ups and downs. Their daughter wants to go to any college except USC, but they want her direly to go there. They found out that their son's not working as hard as he could be in school, which he's kind of honest about, semi, but we'll get to that a little later. And then you have Of course, the youngest child, which is the darling child, never gets in any trouble because they're too young to have made an impact over what the older kids have pissed you off with through the times already. This movie uses as and damn a lot. Like I was actually surprised how many times they use the word damn and as. But that's just
I
me.
didn't even notice.
Oh my god, yeah. For me, it's because I was really like, man, this is a really nice, wholesome movie. And then I started catching it by ear, like as like, hey, yo, like, do we have to? Which is crazy because I'm not.
Did you just age 40 years?
Are you sure that just wasn't the song that Santa wrote in on?
Maybe that too. Because yeah, we don't talk about Santa right in his I guess we call that a Cadillac sleigh, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Because we had two Santas, and the first Santa, he got a mini moment, but he didn't have the moment, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, he was just a helper.
Yes, he was definitely an elf. The son Nick, he's into music, but again, he's struggling in school. So, immediately we jump into the weeds. Chris loses his job because the job is having some overturn. It was sold by the original owners, and the new owners are like, "Hey, we need to make some cutbacks because things ain't going." And I'm just gonna say this: I was glad and angry at the scene where he gets cut, where he gets laid off, because what's up with the dude who's laying him off? Like,
man,
what corporate dude is this?
I took a small amount of offense to that too, because I didn't like the landscape of that, the way they did that.
Yeah, it's like, so
are we on Empire right now or something?
That's legitimately what I was thinking. I was like,
that was the vibe.
Like scene out of Empire.
Yeah.
Except that ain't Terrence Howard and that ain't Cookie.
No.
But to me, it looks like they had the lady who was sitting there works for the company who bought in, and then the guy who's talking is a representative that's been hired to go through with this job. Because even the lady sitting behind him, you could tell she kind of like, this is a little crazy, like this is a little harsh. You could see her in her body language, she's not really on board with what's going on, but she's doing her job.
Hey, but take this, please.
I mean, I think that they were probably,
sure.
I think that they probably had more in the movie, but they got edited out because it really doesn't make any sense for, like, there's no need for him to have the firing scene. That could have just been a phone call.
Yeah, right. Because we never saw him with a job.
Never saw him with the job. Never saw those people ever again. So,
but I will say something that it does kind of change optically is for him to at least go in and get fired. You at least remember through the movie that he had employment. Like he's not the character
he's not employed,
goes around unemployed, which is kind of everything he does through the movie is what unemployed characters typically do.
I think it was really just to have the reward for the fleece joke.
That too.
It was him regifting the
fleece joke.
Yeah.
I caught that later. Like, that fleece joke was drug out way too far. Now, still proves that Eddie has writing chops. I'll give him that. But man, that thing was dragged out.
Yeah, I think it's just tame, and like when you have to do tame stuff, it's like got to be very universal, and so it can't be offensive to anybody, and so I get that.
And everybody likes fleece, but nobody likes a free fleece. That's for sure.
Yeah. Nobody wants to be gifted fleece. Who wants to be gifted that shit?
Who wants to be given that as a breakup?
Right. Not even a watch.
It's like the breakup gift. Said, I don't want no giving away biscuits.
Fleece is just so weird. I don't know why.
That's an intimate gift to be given somebody, like a clothing item when you're separating from something like an entity like that.
Yeah,
he broke up with that man like they had some person.
Especially a soft clothing item, because it implies that you want to feel the person.
Wow.
That's just where my mind goes. It's like, hey, put this fleece on, man.
I want you to be comfortable in this peril I'm throwing your way.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I took it personal because I had a situation in my real life like that. So yeah. No, pair of socks. I thought it was weird.
That's even worse.
I thought it was weird.
Oh,
I thought it was weird. So when I seen that, I was like, that don't look right to me.
Doctor saying shit.
I thought maybe I was tripping. Like,
and for
who
your
does that?
separation, Mr. Carter, we're giving you this pair of socks that came in a pack of 12, but I'm keeping
Man.
the other 11. So
Right, you know, so I promise, Nick. That's why I'm over here thinking like, asshole didn't even give you the full pack of socks. They gave you
no.
a pair
Yeah,
of socks.
Nah,
too.
just a pair. Yeah,
fair.
it's weird. It's weird. You
That
don't
is
do
very
that,
weird. That's very
and
weird.
then you mad somebody don't want it.
Hey man,
These
like,
pair
it's
of
like saying-
socks, each toe represents a year of your employment with us.
Each toe. Oh, that mean they the socks with the foot webbings.
Yeah,
And I
The
want
toe
them
webbings,
back
excuse
in
me.
the done.
No way.
Ooh.
No way. So Chris is laid off by the prestigious administrator because of company cuts. I had to say it again just so I could remember where I was. And then we find out that Carol, his wife, is up for a promotion at her job.
But wait a minute. Hold up. Before we skip to this part, what job has an executive? What was the lady's title when he was trying to pack up his office?
That was
And they
just
had
supposed to be a
somebody-
gag.
Yeah. I have that written down. The assistant, she was the outplacement assistant.
Yeah.
Man, if you don't get the hell away from me.
So what I think that we might find out that there are situations like that, and I know
there
one
are.
possible.
Yeah, it's called security.
Yeah, basically, I know one example where something similar happened. But it was more so like another coworker. But yeah, basically, they assigned somebody to assist the person out of the building.
Make sure you
Yeah,
don't
it's
steal
called
shit.
security.
Yeah.
You better
But
not try to steal nothing.
It's more dignified than security because it doesn't look the optics. Like, so corporations are so petty and materialistic that they don't want an armed security officer escorting you because that's bad optics. They'll
Looks
give
like you
you
did a crime.
Yeah, they'll give you the the HR person, like Susan from HR, who will just like putz around while you pack up your stuff. Make sure
Or
you don't
better
steal a
Choose
make sure you don't-
carefully because
make
not
sure you
everybody
don't-
likes Susan.
yeah, make sure you don't steal some paper clips on your way out.
Right. I was about to say, and what the last thing they'll do though is ask the person who you hang out with the most at the job to do it.
Oh yeah. No. They won't do that.
That person.
They
gonna ask
always
that one
it's always
person
the
who never
person you
sees
hate the most.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that they
Like
can
a slap in
snicker
the face.
while you're, walking your sad walk out.
Long walk. So anyway, so yeah, he has an outplacement assistant, and she makes a couple of snide remarks, and he's like, "Oh, yeah." He wanted to say a couple of choice words. Now that's where that was the part of the laid off scene that I appreciated. Was again, it let you know that we're gonna get into kind of like the most real version of this because this is still a mythical movie, right? Which we'll get to that in a minute too. So fast forward, Chris is laid off. He tries to tell Carol that he was let go, but Carol ain't really hearing him. He tries to tell her a few times. He finally tells her as they're headed over across the street because she's come home, finds out he doesn't have a bottle of wine to go to the neighbor's house, and she kind of look all disappointed and stuff, but she don't see that her man feeling away until he's able to divulge to her that he's been laid off, and she lets him know, you know what, it's gonna be okay. We're gonna figure this out. It's not the end of the world. And then they go over to the neighbors gathering. They have a nice little time. Everybody's cool. Everybody's free. And then before that, he let Carol know that he didn't want to ruin the last Christmas. And what he means by that is their oldest daughter's leaving for college. Son's not too far behind. And the youngest girl is old enough to start figuring out when things are wrong. So he feels like this is the last full family Christmas they're going to have. And he wants it to be perfect, which it is going to be everything but perfect. During that family event, though, they discovered through the news coverage of the Candy Cane Lane week events that sponsors have collectivized to put together $100,000 prize, which, wow.
Okay, I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say something really quick. I think that one of the other weak spots for the comedy was the lady on the television.
Oh, Kit.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's something so weird. I agree, but the last like scene with Kit and Emerson, the two news anchors, kind of made it all full circle, and I was upset that that's what they were trying to hint at, and gave them absolutely no real storyline time outside of the news coverage. Like I thought what they
Yeah.
did was entertaining, but if you gave us like 2 scenes of them just in the studio talking, and then you have that moment at the very end, and the whole way she was going through is like, oh, he wasn't uncomfortable, because basically for the audience, the whole time they're making the Caucasian anchor seem like he's uncomfortable with how loud and boisterous the black female anchor is, and he's really just uncomfortable because he likes her.
Shocker.
Yeah.
Guess what? Edit it out.
Yep.
Fair enough. I think,
Yep.
yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a fair
Because
point.
there's no reference to that at
Nothing.
all in the movie.
But as soon as he grabs her hand and he sees her face, it clicks for the audience. It's like, oh,
The movie's already way too long.
And I was like,
yeah.
And I'll tell you why it upset me was because I kind of was thinking that I was like, are they gonna spin this into like they like each other? That'd be cool. But when it never happened, I'm like, okay, well, I guess that's not what's happening there. She's just she's just annoying as hell. Entertaining, good for the job, but as a coworker, I also was starting to like that angle of it. Like, yeah, as a coworker, I understand why you got to be that person, but shut up. Like and I'm sure everybody doesn't like people who they have to work with who carry that energy. Shit, I'm sure I'm that person some days for other people. But yeah. Sorry, I understand that you were saying that's a weak point, but for me, I wouldn't call it as much of a weak point. But I feel like there was so much more story there to where it developed into a weak point because they didn't go into any of it.
Yeah, I think it's just, again, like, this movie is bloated, and so there are character side stories that just didn't get any recognition or any time because they was too long.
Right.
Yeah, if they had developed some sort of like because all they do is act as the sort of exposition to introduce the concept that there's going to be a big grand prize for the Candy Cane Lane winner, and that's really their only reason for being in the movie.
Yeah.
And even that was kind of silly. It didn't really make sense.
Then it wasn't even a thing. It was tacos.
Right.
And a bunch of other prizes, which I wrote down, and we'll talk about those as we get. But yeah, prizes that add up to 100,000. But initially, everybody thinks it's $100,000 cash. They immediately end the party and go into planning mode as a neighborhood. The next morning, Chris has to take Holly to school. He decides not to take Holly to school and takes her shopping with him. All of the stores are either overrun with people or they're already sold out. He ends up finding a shop under a highway named Kringles. Now, I just want to say,
not
if I got
suspicious
my
at all.
baby girl, right? I got my baby girl. He's in this heated moment where he's going on his rant, so he's following all these detours unconsciously. And I don't know. Once I look up and see me under a bridge or the highway with my baby girl, and I don't know where in LA that is. I have an idea where in LA that is, but it would be like downtown. And ain't no off ramp in downtown.
Dude, that's Dirty Mike and the Boys territory.
Right.
Exactly what I'm saying. You know what I'm talking about? But yeah. Now again, where it goes later with that, I get it. But initially, no, I'm not getting out this car with my baby girl in no environment like this. And shame on me for even not paying attention and putting us in this situation.
Plus, Pepper should be sued for copyright infringement.
Because of Pepper?
No, because the name of the shop is Kringles. How are you going to be using Santa's name outside of his own business? What are you doing?
That's a fair point. I did not think about that.
Valid.
Yeah, you're misrepresenting the brand of Santa.
It is really. I think this whole point of this movie is this is Pepper kind of wagging her finger in Santa's face the entire movie. So yeah, let's get to that. So the prize for $100,000. I go. While he's angry and going on a rant about getting fleeced is when he finds this shop named Kringles, which inside he ends up meeting a lady named Pepper, who we later find out is an elf. And Pepper is posing as a salesperson at a pop-up shop. And she's not human, but the only person that seems to understand that initially is Holly, which is weird that she really, kids in the darndest things. Also, let's say this: Chris took way too many suspect turns for even his kids, and I'd be like, "Hey, yo, Pop, what's going on? Be trying to kill me?
Detour.
Trying to take me out? What's going on?
Detour.
I don't like it. Men alike." And when's the last time you seen a red and green detour sign?
Oh,
when it was
yeah.
a elf.
Yeah, you right. So, but Holly does initially like Pepper and her energy, her spunkiness. So, Pepper does agree to end up helping them kick some ass in this competition. See, one of the other times they use the word ass. At the register, Chris is there and he doesn't want to know what his total is, which is, probably for the best, as Pepper says. And I assume that that's convenient because she would have had to divulge a certain amount of information
She
for it
kind
all
of
to
did.
go. And she did, exactly.
Yo.
So,
Yo. Something just dawned on me. I'm gonna lay it on you guys real quick. Tell me how this feels. So what Pepper does to Chris is like the Faustian bargain, right?
yes.
Yeah.
So she represents Lucifer,
Yes.
Yeah.
and Santa represents
Yes.
No.
God.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes. In this movie, yes.
Yes.
In this movie, yes.
Yes.
What color is Santa?
Red and white.
No.
Oh,
What's
black
this?
man.
Black.
Sorry.
And what color
He's a
is the
black
devil?
guy. It's a white woman.
Oh,
The devil's a white woman, guys.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say nothing. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's the first thing I said,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
wasn't gonna say it on air because I didn't want y'all to get
That's
it.
okay, I'll say it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I had put the devil and God thing together. I did not do the black man versus white woman thing. No, but
I did.
Yeah.
I just initially thought that Pepper was the devil, and it was like
Yeah.
it wasn't lost on me that she was of the Caucasianist persuasionist.
she's basically Krampus.
I
Right,
thought
yeah.
that too, to an extent, and then I thought just a regular devil.
Yeah,
Yes,
and it made me
just-
rethink
yeah.
Krampus. Maybe Krampus was an elf that just once it got more stronger and powerful, started looking like what it looks like.
Well, no, because there's a whole lore behind it.
I know.
But I mean, if you want to say that they're starting a new lore version, sure, okay, I'll go along with that.
I think it would be kind of cool. So, but yeah, so he doesn't want his total. He doesn't read the fine print because he's told not to. He's told that he is signing his life away,
Exactly.
and everything in the store starts to sound off like an alarm before he actually signs. Now, there is a Santa in a suitcase toy right next to the register. He doesn't see that. There's a picture of Pepper behind the register in a throne with a crown on, with a candy cane.
Employee of the month.
She continues to make it clear that this is not about money, but it's also not about religion. So what is it about? But all in all, he pays $25.49 in taxes. He buys 61 items for $494.29. However, the receipt is only valid until Christmas Eve at 8 p.m. And
$469.20.
$494.29.
Okay.
That's a lot of money.
But then he comes home and it's only the Christmas tree that he's bought.
Seemingly he only used the Christmas tree, but on the receipt there was a lot more.
Right, because they had like 30 pairs of lights or something.
Right, but also each tier had its own rate. I was looking at the receipt too. That's why I was trying to read the receipt fine print, so I tried to read some of the things that I could on the receipt as well. Let's see. So we go back to Emerson and Kit. He buys the 12 days tree. Got to turn the page. We find out what the fa la 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 la. So we go back to the coverage of the Christmas parade, and this is where I don't know what made me do it, but I paused the movie and I looked up the Prism Network. The Prism Network was actually a real network in Philadelphia. I think back in like the 70s, 80s, and it was replaced by the NBC Sports Network in Philadelphia. But it also has a longer lineage than that. But I say that just for people to look it up because the Prism Network was something real, or Prison Cable Network.
Dude, I guarantee you the people who made this movie didn't even know that.
Probably not.
They didn't even know that.
No joke. Probably not. But I'm thinking it is plausible because Eddie Murphy is from the East Side or the East Coast, so you never know, it's possible. Yeah,
That's such an obscure reference, and it would have
it's
to mean something.
super obscure. But
Yeah.
also, I want to say maybe did I read that about this movie? That the director of this movie also created House Party.
Oh, the
You mean the
director,
new one?
Reginald
No, no,
Hudlin.
no, 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 the original. I think that was
Maybe.
him.
Oh.
He did Django and House Party. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he was right.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was. So House Party was an original thing he did in college. He turned it into a real movie, and he was one of the directors on Django. With
Never saw it.
Yeah. So yeah, um, that was so I'm thinking that could even be something that he might be aware of. Maybe he's from that area as well. He also went to Harvard, so who knows? He might be from California.
Irrelevant.
No. I'm saying he might be from California. That's what makes it relevant. Look here, buddy. I'm not over here just making
The Prism
pretentious
Company
claims.
was established in 1965
Right.
to Philadelphia newspaper magnate, blah, blah, blah.
All right.
You're just going to a PBS podcast after.
Yeah, I have. What the fa la 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 am I talking about? I get it. All right, so we get back to the coverage of the Christmas parade where we meet Joshy, where we meet Josh, aka DC Young Fly, who is
Yes.
Kit's nephew, and he's filling in for the normal regular anchor for why we don't know. Now
I thought that was funny.
Well, and this
I
is
don't
where
think he's filling in. I think that's just the weather person.
No.
I just thought that was funny how they did the original anchor. I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, he just wasn't there.
They introed him and he not even there.
Yeah, they did his intro, had his little thing up on the screen.
Yeah, I just thought that was funny.
He just wasn't there. And then so it was Josh. And he's Kit's nephew and he's an influencer, a rapper.
Yikes.
And he fills in. That I was down for the influencer part. I was like, why this okay. But
Everybody's a rapper now.
That was the issue for me. But they also didn't like make him do a freestyle or nothing. So I guess I'll give it a pass. Let's see. Santa is there to help light up all the houses, and Emerson is looking for a table.
What?
I don't know what the. Oh, wow! I said Emerson looks uncomfortable, and I said I'm looking at it. And I start reading. Emerson looks for a table. What am I reading? Emerson looks uncomfortable, and Kit looks overjoyed. And that was what I was saying. Like I really feel like Emerson just looks super uncomfortable around her the whole episode, the whole movie.
Oh, you talking about the news anchors?
The news anchors,
right.
Yes. Let's see. All right, so they do the lights. Chris's lights don't go on the first time, but the second time they are successful, and he lights up the entire town, even blinds an airplane, which I thought was funny. But
I got a kick out of that too.
Yeah, it was like, oh, we all right, I see. Yeah, that's a black people thing. Like, hey, don't be flashing them lights in the sky. You're gonna blind the airline pilot. Like things you hear when you're younger that don't make no damn sense. And yeah, so after his lights light up, we're on to the next morning where all of the ornaments are missing. There's swans in the pool. And of course, Chris has to take his daughter to school again, but he doesn't. She goes with him on a rampage. On her way to work, Carol is getting bombed by swans, like getting poo bombed. I thought that was funny. But when Chris and Holly go back to talk to Pepper, they talk to Pepper for a minute, but they end up meeting the villagers and finding out that the village is all real people who have been turned into ornaments by Pepper, who is a real elf. And I'm not going to use that word, but she's been demoted and cast out. So, she's a bad elf at this point because she's not a part of.
You could even say she was
cast
cast out of heaven.
Yeah, cast
out. You say.
Cast out.
I don't think that's the word they use, but he did
because
say
God didn't know any better, and He was too kind to the humans. Yeah,
right. And that's essentially, yeah, exactly. Pretty much why she left was she didn't like like she says in the movie that she felt Santa was being too soft on us.
It's literally the Miltonian Luciferian narrative.
It's the allegory
that's
of
literally
Lucifer.
what it is. Yeah,
you don't say.
Yeah.
So they explain to Chris that he has 3 days to find 5 golden rings.
Technically, they didn't say 5.
You could just say collect the rings.
The villagers the villagers had agreed with him that it was 5 golden rings because of the song. But in the movie, we do find out that there is a riddle to even that. And boom.
No, Pepper
Um,
just says you have to find the rings before
the ring,
8.
yeah,
She
yeah,
doesn't say
yeah, yeah.
5. They just
Um,
assume that because the carolers kept saying 5 gold rings because of the
Exactly.
stupid song. But
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. So they get all of the rings that they can. One's at Carol's job. She's up for a promotion and she can't really talk about it while he's trying to warn her. At her meeting, she nearly is ruined, but they end up getting a ring, stopping the chickens that are on the conveyor belts and bouncing around through there. And then once again, Chris returns to Kringles, and this is when he talks with the villagers again and ends up stealing the villagers from Pepper's workshop, which now officially puts him on the naughty list. But yeah,
I mean, it is breaking and entering and some thievery.
it's definitely a B&E.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Those villagers
Holly
are Pepper's property.
convinces- Right. The
Hmm.
villagers are the
Hmm.
first people. No, not the villagers, but not Holly. Pepper is the first person to give Chris a little bit of pushback about what he wished for. Like, you didn't wish for rich, you didn't wish to be famous, you wished to win a contest.
Yeah,
And
that
you
was
could
a
wish for
waste.
anything in the world. Yeah, you could wish for anything in the world. That's what you wished for, which proved how selfish he was and was kind of hinting at what they were getting at through the entire movie, which is he didn't understand or recognize or appreciate the actual spirit of Christmas. He was being selfish to himself, which was also what his children were trying to explain to him as well. And they soon do.
He could have just
Holly-
wished for a gajillion dollars because the whole reason he
Anything.
wants to win the contest is to make the $100,000.
Right. Instead, he wishes
Yeah.
for 100,000 content. Like, that's just silly. Anyway, I didn't like that while they were in Kringles, that Holly went to the candy bowl and took a handful of peppermints and was eating those. I expected her to turn into like something, because you don't just eat the mystical person's candy. when they're
Violet
not there.
Beauregard style.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, maybe they didn't do that because it would have reminded people too much of Willy Wonka, but I think that would have been a very good message to send, because you're in
No.
someone's.
It's already
understand
being
why.
remade again. No,
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Chalamet.
no more.
With
Chalamet.
lazy eyes Timothy Chalamet.
Is it Chalamet or Chalamet? I always call him
That
Chalamet.
motherfucker needs to open his eyes, dude.
Can you see me?
Damn.
He always looks like he
wow.
just woke up.
Maybe he did. I mean, that's the cool guy look. He
Yeah,
got the
that's
long
right.
hair and the,
Yeah.
hey man, I'm never awake.
I'm so cool. I just won't even open my eyes. I could, but I won't. I'm just gonna keep them
Look down at
slightly
everybody like
open.
this. You
Yeah.
gotta tilt your neck back so you can. So you always have to look down the bottom of your lids.
Yeah.
You look down the sliding cheek at people. Sorry, I went a little too far.
It is the way you do it, though.
So let's see. Pepper was at the packing plant with the chickens. We got past that part already. He steals the I was going to call them gnomes. He steals the ornaments and then tells the family everything. They are also critical about the wish he made, because he could have wished for anything, world peace, anything. His kids are on his head about it. But
You mean his
during
selfish
this-
kids that I didn't like?
yeah, fair enough.
He could have wished
During
to end
this-
climate change, you guys.
This is true. Carol wants everything to be normal, but this is nothing close to normal. It's not even that simple. During this, because of the carolers and they're going through the names as he's introducing his family to the villagers, we find out or realize that all of the Carver kids are named after Christmas type stuff. You have Joy to the World, you have Jolly Old Saint Nick, and then you have a Holly Jolly Christmas. I thought that was kind of cool. Like,
I thought what was the son's name? Was Josh, wasn't it?
not
No, it's
Nick.
Mhm.
Oh,
Saint Nick. He is Santa Claus. He is a saint.
well, who? Oh, right, because I got the characters mixed up in my head. My bad.
Ha-ha.
My fault.
Yeah, Joshua's the other one.
Yeah.
The other black kid.
Uh-huh.
I see what you did there. It's all right. I'm gonna call you out on it. But
Yeah, go for it.
he talked Holly into taking him to send a letter to Santa, which was kind of cool. But I assumed that Pepper would snatch her up or snatch him up, and that's not what happened. What happened is Pepper comes back because they The kid didn't set the alarm when she came back in the house. And Pepper was able to sneak into the garage and look for her ornaments, but she didn't find them. She just found the village, which I personally thought she would have at least just taken the house back.
I mean, she could
Or
have
taking
just
the-
looked for a couple more minutes, but she decided the movie needed her to leave. So
Yeah, and she
Yeah.
and she also adjusted the time on the clock too.
right.
So let's see. She sneaks into the garage. Oh, the next day they're at Joy's track meet. At Joy's track meet, Nick's math teacher spots him and comes over to talk to the family. He takes off like he's in the track meet, which made me initially like, what they planning here? But while they're doing all of that, and he goes into the music room so that he could lay down some tuba and xylophone tracks for his new song.
For what? For why?
Because man, he had to ask.
Yeah, and you know why? You both know why. Because it
Yes.
pays off in like a scene or two afterwards.
It does actually pay off a few scenes later.
You know
Nick's
why?
right.
Because music is math, bro.
Because music makes you lose control. It is music. Music is math, actually. Though.
It is. No, it is.
that
But it was
part
just
wasn't-
silly.
It was silly.
Like
but
playing
I-
the xylophone a few times is going to make you good at math. I don't know. I don't think that
Man,
that's how
like,
that works.
Yeah. I don't know how to play the xylophone, so I ain't gonna be like, yeah, I don't even know if he was hitting the right keys. He was just doom 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 doom
Mm-hmm.
down in the bathroom.
Did you just Jamaica bobsled team that?
Nope.
Oh, okay. I thought you said because I just watched Cool Runnings like a couple days ago.
On
I'm
purpose?
stopping myself. From
Yeah, I
thinking
love that
need to
movie.
see.
Cool Runnings is a great
Cool Runnings
movie.
is an
You shut
awesome
up.
movie.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
That is a beloved movie. Come on. I still get choked up when
ashamed
they
of you,
crash and they decide to walk the rest of the way. That's good stuff right there.
Mike. I'm ashamed of you, Mike, for even asking that question. Like that wasn't like a great. That was really a good movie. The
Mhm.
epitome of movies. Even no, I'm joking. Okay, now I'm going too far. But if I'm being real, Cool Runnings is how we got Air Bud and all that other stuff because they were like,
Oh,
oh my
man.
god, they really like this kind of stuff here.
Bro,
it was
Cool
like, but
Runnings had
they aren't
evil
the same
Germans. It
thing.
was awesome. It was the bad guys were
Again?
German.
Die
Yeah, it
Hard
was so
before
good.
Die Hard.
Yeah.
They probably came
Best
out the same
Christmas
year.
movie ever.
And then Dougie Doug
Runnings and Die
disappeared
Hard.
completely.
I do.
Damn it.
See what you did, Nick. Dang. What was I about to say? What did you say,
Wait.
Mike? You said something.
Turns out he became a villager in this movie.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
And kept hitting on the guy's wife.
No. Yeah, Chris Red. Yeah, that was out of pocket. You know,
Out
black
of
men do
pocket.
stuff like that.
Black men
I
don't
forgot
cheat.
what else I was about to say, but I'm gonna let it go. So anyway, so he goes and records his tuba section, some xylophone, a little bit of piano, and the teacher's trying to talk to his mom. And what I didn't like about the teacher interaction with the mom was he was trying to seem like just a helpful teacher, but he was really just being a prick for no reason. She's at a track meet for her daughter, and you walk up to her as the son's teacher, and you're trying to talk to her about the son's schooling. Okay, cool. You see she's involved in that, and she literally says to you, like, okay, you wouldn't need to tell me why would you tell me my son's failing? My son's not failing. And it clicks, and she turns and she's like, wait, he's failing? And it's like, yeah. And it's like, I'll punch you in your shit. Who are you talking to?
To be fair, he was
Mhm.
busy and she kept calling him over.
That's true.
And then he said, I'll be right over there.
He
And
did,
then
yeah,
he
he did.
shows
He was
up at a
down
very
there.
inopportune time because there's lords leaping everywhere during a relay race.
We're not the Lords of Leaping
No,
yet.
no, we're
getting
there. We're
right
there. We're
We're
watching
right
it.
there.
And you know what? Why would he pick? Not only why would he pick that time? How come y'all don't really know?
So that's what I was getting at. I have two issues with that scene. Number one, if he's failing that bad, why haven't you contacted the parents?
Of course.
And why is the first call apparently you make after the track meet, after that whole scene you saw? That's my first issue with his interaction with that.
And
But
they're
then
going
once you
to a
see
good
this,
school too, so
Yeah.
it's not like the parents wouldn't be calling,
Mhm.
or the teachers wouldn't be calling.
wouldn't be calling. They'd be calling
Yeah.
about, hey, your kid sneezed too loud.
Mm-hmm.
But then you turn and you had like now that she's interested, And they like, wait, where is he? And it's like, oh, I figured. And it's like, all right, listen, now this is just me. And I'm gonna assume that the way they try to make it is because of everything going on. The husband ain't really, he don't hear, he ain't paying attention to the conversation. That shit was disrespectful. Just it is what it is. And the reason is, what is your insinuation here that they're neglectful parents? Because they're right
Yes.
here in front of you with their entire family supporting one of their kids, and the other kid is missing at the school. It's not like he wasn't just right here 30 seconds ago. So, what is the insinuation? Now, if the insinuation was like, oh, you just don't care, I'm down for that because they're two parents who work clearly in corporate America. They probably don't have enough time. I'm totally down for that. But to just, oh, well, where is he? Like, oh, figures, like, huh? But that also makes me think that there's probably a little more to that scene that was cut out.
Well, I was just about to say you could cut the brother out entirely, and it doesn't
Yeah,
do
I agree.
anything. It doesn't do anything to the story. So
Nope.
he might have just been an extra thing that they kind of saved.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, he's inconsequential to the story. I mean, the older daughter is doing the college thing, and then
She's
the younger
everything.
daughter,
She's the whole movie.
the younger daughter has access to all the mystical stuff,
Mhm.
and
Right.
the son is like in this place where he's
He's just a kid.
he's just
The
there.
daughter's
He's
the
the middle
athlete,
child.
and the son is the artistic one.
Artistic or both.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, he's the middle child, so I get that too.
Somebody
anyway.
beat him.
Yeah.
No, he just
Um,
needs to be beat because he's a middle child.
So the mom finds out he's failing. Oh, so now. Oh, and I also want to say that I don't care if he was a white or a black teacher. I just feel like he was being a dick. But I also feel like the track coach is being a dick too. And I was like, is there a tone that we're trying to paint here? But anyway, Pepper arrives and she has an army with her. Nick starts popping and locking as he's making his music, which was weird to me. But then the milkmaid shows up with a cow, blasts him with two teats full of milk, and they have
Mhm.
they don't have a fight, but he just swims through the milk and then pulls the ring from around, the
Mhm.
ring that's hanging.
Mhm.
Isn't it 7 maids a milking?
I thought so.
Not just one. What's going on?
It was
here?
enough. It was enough milk in there for 7 maids.
Mhm. I was
Fine.
feeling thirsty.
I wish I could mute you right now, bro. But
Ooh.
and only because you're like, I almost feel like you're egging me to say more than like say what's on my mind. What's on your mind, pimp? Nothing.
Who, me?
Nothing at all. But my question, when the milkmaid shows up, and then outside you have the Lords of Leaping, and they're surrounding Chris and throwing javelins, which whoa.
They seem
Then
fancy.
they seem super fancy, but then you also had the Lords of Leaping that was also like a ballerina who was flipping and running away, like flipping fast enough to be basically running away from Joy, as she's supposed to be the fastest track star out there. I'm wondering, could everybody else see it? Now, at the very beginning, it was clear that everybody else could see it, but once you got going, like when first off, you didn't need a javelin and a bottle to knock that guy out, but they used both. It's like the teacher didn't see that happen, right? Then you have
nobody clearly did because he was very disturbed when she threw the bottle at that person's head.
Right.
Yeah.
And he was not reacting to it until that moment, which was weird.
Yeah.
And the scout.
Then the scout, it's like she not only caught up and passed off her baton, she ran past the person she gave the baton to and passed the next person and then caught this guy.
Or
And then
if
he's furious, like, how dare you be faster than everyone?
But
What?
if you the scout, you say, "Hey, I don't know where these 10 guys just came from and started messing up the entire relay race. We'll be back in the next one to check you out because that was weird."
What did he say? I saw 10 violations, bruh.
Me too. And they was leaping around.
That's right. And it's like, what are we talking about right now? What violations is like? And that's why I'm like, what were they trying to paint a tone that maybe I just missed a little bit?
And he was smug for no reason.
It's
No,
just a
he was
color.
smug because he was a college scout. That's
Yeah,
what
but
he was.
it's just a color in a little drama for the eldest daughter because she really wants to go to Notre Dame, and
Mhm,
that's a Notre Dame scout. And then it's
mhm.
supposed to be funny because Eddie Murphy thinks it's a USC scout, and so he makes a huge ass of himself,
Hey,
and he
Right
right
ruins the
on.
whole thing. Yeah,
I don't.
yeah,
Eh, eh, eh.
yeah, yeah.
It's so funny. I know a lot of USC and UCLA supporters because I live in LA, and
Weird, weird,
man,
weird.
it's so real. It's so real. It's so real.
Oh yeah,
Like
I'm sure it is.
their
Mhm.
children ask me regularly just because they can. You're a USC fan, right? You're a UCLA fan, right? Fight on, right? Fight
No.
on. Go Bruins, go. I'll be like, listen, listen, listen. Professional sports. How about that? I have answers. I'm just not giving them on the internet. That's all.
Mm.
Um. So the Notre Dame scouts a dickhead. I actually have that written down. Sorry, I probably shouldn't have said it on air though. But I was wondering if everybody could see it because it did seem like the people who most importantly you wanted to see it in the situation of that scene did not see it, aside from people who were dealing with it. The kids are upset at their dad and they tell him that everything is always about him, including the scene, the scenario, and all of this. What I do appreciate is at no point was anybody's life in jeopardy except for Chris's in the main scheme of things. But a lot of the things that were happening, you would think that they almost made this was like bridging on possibly a homicide murder type movie if
Yeah,
they
what
made
was
one
gonna
change.
happen there? What was gonna happen there? Those guys were gonna surround Eddie Murphy with lances and stab him to death?
Stab him or something, right? Exactly.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
I
what I
thought they were.
needed.
I thought Eddie was about to show us that he been
I ain't
getting
no
up in
punk.
footwork and choreography. I ain't no punk.
Yeah,
But
he
yeah,
just
no,
cut to the Matrix and Neo fighting all the Agent Smiths.
something.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I thought he was about to get his baton twirl on. I didn't see
He
nobody
was gonna
walking on stage to slap him.
he was gonna
But
get attacked by teenage models.
Yeah. I thought it was a K-pop band, was it not?
Right.
dang, dang. Hey, all I'm saying is these K-pop bands they got coming out nowadays, they probably will win that fight.
Yeah,
Why?
probably.
Because they won't cry? What do you mean?
No, because they're made in a factory, like
Be
you know,
careful. We
NSYNC
don't
and all
Oh.
the boy bands.
we don't want to anger any K-pop stands.
We
Oh,
really
okay.
don't.
'Cause
I'm just yeah. I
I
like
just
him. I really do like in K-pops to the I compare
I
them to the boy bands from the early 2000s.
I only said it like that because I saw a video of a K-pop guy hitting his ankle and then crying because he was hurting, and I thought it was hilarious.
Where did he hit
Have
his
you ever
ankle
hit
on?
that bone on your ankle though? That hurts,
I like how
man.
Nick and I are both like, hold on, wait.
Yeah.
You ever hit your ankle, B?
No,
Yeah.
not that bone, but I
You
understand
never
exactly what you're talking about.
you never rode a razor scooter. I know that
No,
for sure.
I
Those
was
damn razors.
I was already an adult when those came out.
Oh
See, it's
yeah.
that's your fault for being old. I don't know what
Right?
to tell you.
Hey, Nick, you ever use a skip it?
Skip it. Yes, definitely.
And when the wire of the skip it wrap around your ankle, it's okay. You probably gonna fall, but it's okay.
Yeah.
But when the ball of the skip it hit your ankle, I don't want to play with
Whack.
shit no more.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, a skip it was called a hula hoop.
Hey, you know what? Yes, that's true.
Did you
That
push
don't
it
do
with a stick too?
No, that was the
Zero.
advanced model.
Okay.
What do they call that? Stick hoop?
Yeah,
Hoop
it's
and a
a
stick.
stick and a hoop. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Hoop and a stick. Yep.
No,
That's
that's something else.
So yeah, they fight acrobats at the track meet. The kids are mad, and so after he divulges everything to them about his life being on the line, and them being mad at him about him not making this a family thing, everybody agrees to help Chris save his lives, and they also decide to help Chris save the others and Christmas in general. We fast forward or we go straight to the live show with more Emerson and Kit, and this is where the entire crowd is, or the entire neighborhood is gathered. They're ready to get into the festivities. Who's going to win the Candy Cane Lane contest? And this is where Kit announces that it's not Cash. Who thought it was Cash? And Emerson's looking at her like it was definitely like okay. So that's what
Unclear.
yeah, it was unclear. Like that was not clear at all. So they divulged that you'll be getting prizes that
Tacos.
add up to about $100,000, and in these prizes, it will be $6 of off at Applebee's, 2 BlackBerry devices, Little Flippin's mixtape. Little Flippin is Josh, for the record.
Right.
Or I'm sorry, I said Little Flippin. Lil Flippin.
Mm.
2 different words.
Mhm.
500 shares of Fry's Electronics, which I thought was hilarious. Passes to the
Oh, I'll take that.
Irrigation History Museum. A free isn't Fry's out of it anyway?
Yes. it is.
Free antique quilt. A monthly supply of Dove soap, which is what, like 10 bars? Because if you leave it wet, that thing is soggy. You ain't using that no more.
Those things disintegrate so fast.
They do.
Yeah.
A history lesson with Emerson. And I think there was one other thing, but I can't read what I said here. Oh, and tacos that, add up to about $100,000 in value.
I'll take the tacos. I didn't know Fry's was closed.
Right. Now,
Yeah.
I will say this. Emerson was as upset as everyone else was. Emerson was pissed. He was like, I gotta talk to my agent about this shit. Like, why am I involved in
Right.
this?
What am I signed up for?
Right. And then this is when Pepper arrives at the block party, but she does end up getting caught by a trap that was laid for her, which I thought was crazy because she made it seem like she meant to get caught into the trap. And when Chris starts explaining to her that, he understands where he was wrong and what he didn't understand and all that, she tells him to quit human-splaining Christmas to her. And I was like, did she just put a mansplaining joke in there?
Mhm.
I don't like this movie anymore because this is about to go real bad.
See, that's where he should have just started punching her
Sure. Yeah.
upside down. Start punching the devil. Pow pow.
Start punching, right? Hey, there you go. Kick her in the jejunum.
See, you looking at it as a woman. That's the devil.
That's the devil.
True. That's
It's
true.
fair. That's a
I'd
real
just
point.
start beating your head in.
But before she can get any of her tricks off or anything further can happen, you hear a boom in the air and the bass line starts, and there's a nice drop top Cadillac sleigh coming in out of the sky, or just getting it in. And then he also drift. When they hit the ground, they drift a little bit. They slide into place, because they've been practicing. They hook slide. And who
That was a
jumps out?
73 Pontiac. What you talking about?
It probably was 73 Pontiac.
Yeah.
And who hops out? Santa Claus. Santa. And the first thing out of his mouth is peppermint. And I was like, oh shit, they turned Santa into a pimp.
Uh-huh.
Did he have a cane? I couldn't remember. Did he have a cane?
He had a
He
he
did.
had a
He
pimp-
needs
he
a
had
cane.
he had a zoot hat and actual fitted zoot suit. He didn't have a zoot suit because it wasn't oversized. But
And his
Yeah,
first
he needed a cane though.
and his first
Yeah.
couple steps were a little bit limp like. And then
oh
he
yeah,
straightened
definitely
himself
had to
up.
sway too.
Peppermint.
Yeah.
Peppermint, you getting on my last nerve, girl. What movie are we watching?
Dag, what are you doing?
Right, for real, Dag. What are you about to do to this Christmas movie? But it stayed wholesome. It still was a wholesome movie. But yeah, Santa arrives and they discover that there are not 5 rings that Chris has to find because Chris has already turned, but they have to find 40 rings. Why is it
Like
40
Sonic.
rings, you ask? Yeah, like Sonic. Why is it 40 rings, you ask? Because the song 12 Days of Christmas repeats, and the 5 golden rings don't come in until the 5th day, and you have to continue for 8 more days. So 8 times 5 gives you 40.
Was that how that math worked out?
Yeah, that's how the math worked out.
I wonder
No,
who
it's how
figured
the
that part out.
It's how
So,
the music worked out, bro.
That's right. I'm about to say I had to actually sing the song. So I was like,
Right.
why the hell is it only 40? And I started doing it in my head. I'm like, all right, wait. And I sung the song and I was like, oh shoot, because you don't say 5 golden rings, so you get to 5 golden rings.
Mhm.
Then you get the amount of rings. So I was like, oh, okay, so that's why it's 40 and not. I think I thought 60 originally. So anyway, so those of you who couldn't figure out why that math wasn't mathing, that's why that math wasn't mathing, because you weren't mathing it correctly. So here we have Chris is changed. They discover after Chris asks Santa if all the elves are like this, and he says, this generation, brother, telling me. And that was just an old black dude joke, or old man joke in general. You know, this
Seems like it.
generation.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
Sit
sir.
y'all old selves down.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Get off my lawn.
So silly. I even have another joke that was in the movie written down that I'm not gonna say right now, or probably not gonna say at all. But when Santa gets there, Kit was like, "Oh, it's Black Santa. I knew Santa was black." And Emerson goes, "I only see Santa." And Kit, of course, asks him, "So what color is that nutcracker over there?" He's like,
Right.
"White." Like, yo, get out of here with this shit. But I thought that was funny. Gotcha. Also, I think they could have did better, come up with a better joke, but it's still good to revamp on old jokes. So we get to the situation where Chris has been changed into an ornament. They think it's all over. Peppermint believes that she's won, but she hasn't won. Even though she has tried to cheat her way into it, she hasn't even counted to see how many rings they've gotten at the end of this fiasco. So they come together and they find out they have 38 rings. And Santa says, "Are you sure?" And Carol looks on her hand, and her wedding ring is one of the rings now. So that's 39 rings. And guess who also has a wedding ring on? That would be Chris, who has the 40th ring. And he turns back into a human.
I don't think it was I don't think it was in reference to their rings turning into those rings, but just the fact that they have rings and the ring types weren't necessarily specified.
Correct, but they were both on their left hands when they looked at them, and they were definitely golden rings over their wedding bands. Only because I saw it, because I had to find it.
Send the meteor. I'm ready. Send the meteor. I'm ready.
So let's see. They have 40 rings. He gives a speech. And Chris doesn't have to lose his family as he thought he would. Holly does what only a child could do, and she wishes for everyone to be restored and returned home. So all of the villagers are turned back into humans. All of the carolers are turned back into humans, and everyone is returned back to their existence, with the exception of Pip, who stays in town because he's from the Charles Dickinson era, or Charles Dickens. Dickinson is the other one. Dickens. He basically grew up with Charles Dickens' mom. Like
his mom knew her. His mom.
He's been a figurine for 200 years.
Yeah, since way back. He's probably the first one she got.
Yeah.
But
his name is Pip because Dickens wrote a book called Great Expectations, in which the main character was named Pip.
I thought that, but I was that's crazy. That's crazy. Knock it off.
On this episode of PBS,
right,
we talk about the Dickensian novel Great Expectations,
where you learn that Pip was not only So yeah, even Pepper is allowed to return to the North Pole, but she is turned into an ornament, and Santa Claus is punishing her for her deeds until he feels like she's earned her right to return to the horse stable or the reindeer stables. You know, because that's where she ran away from, and she's still got to serve her time for that. Peppermint. So yeah, Emerson thinks that everything was real. He believes in everything that happened, even though Kit believes that it was all spectacle. But it was real, and he's had a change of heart. And he goes and he grabs Kit's hand, and she's no longer being loud. She just gets silent and kind of has this overwhelmed, surprised look on her face and looks at the camera, and that's the end of them. Pip stays in town, as I said, and he visits on Christmas Day because, you know, he ain't got nothing else to do, and he brings a mallard and a box of wine, which I was like, he discovered that box of wine real fast, didn't he?
Hey,
fast.
They said that was a high price wine when you get it in a box.
Sansa? Oh, never mind. We're not doing this.
What?
Nothing. Nothing at all. It's a $12 box of wine.
Right.
I'm about to sit here and act like they pay. Listen,
they just made it seem like in the beginning when he first pulled out the box of wine in the beginning of the movie, like that was high class wine. Yeah.
So what I appreciate actually about that is people who I know who enjoy wine. A lot of people feel like the box wines are a good price for what they get.
Cheap liquor?
Yeah, because you get like 90 liters of liquor.
Right. Because you're literally getting like 2.5 bottles of wine in a box for the price of a bottle Oh yeah, those things are way
I
bigger
don't
than
drink, so I don't know.
Oh
to be
yeah, it's
fair.
basically a box with a huge
Oh yeah, I
bag,
know.
like satchel of wine in it.
I know.
Which
My first
I'm amazed
introduction to
it's a
that
half
was
box.
Dave Chappelle jokes. Box of
Box
wine.
of wine. Fair enough. And some cheese. Don't forget the cheese.
Yeah.
So Pip stays in town. He visits on Christmas Day. Carol gets the job, and it's funny to. I just have to mention. I thought it was funny because Bruce went in for a hug and was like standing like, and she's like, "No, I'm okay." Yeah. Sometimes it's just like that. But
Mhm.
Pepper was made into. Oh yeah, and Chris is now the new owner or manager of the Kringles store, and it is no longer called Kringles. It's called Chris Kringles. Get it? Get it?
Hopefully being licensed by Santa
Get
Claus.
it?
Yeah, we get it.
Oh, you
Yeah.
okay? You get it. I don't have to
We
ask.
get it. Everybody has a
Yeah.
Christmas name. We get it.
That's what I was kidding at.
Mhm.
Because even Carol, fa la
Yeah,
la la la.
Christmas Carol. Yep.
Mike didn't catch
Yeah, it went right over my head.
Yeah, the whole movie, man. That's all this was. But
Yeah.
with all of that being said, that is the end of the movie. Now, if you're when you do decide to watch the movie, guys, for those who haven't watched it, there are some there aren't Easter eggs, but there are post-credit scenes like cuts and some funny
Was
stuff.
it?
Yeah,
I didn't even
not
know.
post-credit. Sorry, not
Nope.
post-credit. You know how they're running the bloopers alongside the credits? That's what they were doing.
You mean like Marvel?
Now, blooper reel is like
No.
Jackie Chan.
Oh, like Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay,
Everybody loves a blooper reel.
that's much better.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, when
Well,
you
the
said
scene I like,
post credits, when you say it like that, that's Marvel. You say bloopers, that's Jackie Chan.
Mhm.
Got you.
Like Jackie Chan.
Don't we all? I just learned something just now. I'm like, oh, there's a way to explain that. Elementary, my
Well,
dear Watson.
That's just the way that's just the way it makes sense in my head. That might not
Got
be a universal thing.
Universal isn't the best. So,
Nope.
with that being said, let's get into some final thoughts, some ratings, and we're still going to end shorter than this movie is. So, hey, we're winning.
Well, this movie is 3 years long.
Yeah.
Wow. I'll jump into it first because it's pretty easy, pretty clean cut with this. I enjoyed the movie, like I said. Everything that we discussed throughout this movie, there's not really a lot of jump off the page stuff. There's not really a lot of like, I didn't like that style choicing. But there were a couple of jokes that just missed. There were a couple of scenes that felt like there were things that were cut from. But overall, this movie is full end to end. It's adventurous. It's a good family movie. But I honestly have this thing about this where I was like, damn, did they use certain words just a little bit too much for a PG movie? It was almost at PG-13. Like they could have just said shit 2 times and it would have been there. But one of the content advisories on this was foul language. So actually, I think that's the only content advisory on this is foul language. So
Not the devil.
with that being said, this is an enjoyable movie. I will give this a 7. Nah. Yeah, I'll give it a 7.
Yeah, 7's fair. I thought it was enjoyable enough. 7. I'm not gonna go into a long-winded explanation. I think I've already explained my position on most of it and made all the jokes I need to make about it. So 7, and I'm done.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I don't think this is a bad movie at all. I think it was fine. It's overly long. My issue with I can't give it as high as a 7 just because I didn't find it that particularly funny. I found it like a good family movie. That was fine. It was totally serviceable in that lane. But I think that a lot of people see Eddie Murphy and they expect it to be like, bonkersly funny. And I didn't really see it that way. Yeah, it was a fine movie. It was enjoyable. It was fun. It's a good Christmas story. It's kind of like an interesting new take on something that's been done a million times. So kudos for the originality. But I'm feeling like maybe it's a 6 at the most for me. So
Nice.
I think
I'm gonna
Dag
go
should
with
have
a
had
6.
more time.
I agree.
Yeah, but it's a Deus Ex Machina, so he can't really do too much, or else, like that just becomes silly. It's like, well, why didn't they just go visit him?
Oh no, I
You
felt
know.
like they could have did like Eddie normally do and just have Dag all over the place,
Oh,
Just
right.
popping
playing different characters.
little
Because I
moments.
just think Dag is funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think he's funny.
definitely one of the innovate pioneers. I also want to say with Nick, with your comment about Eddie Murphy and the funny, what's so crazy is for me, I usually see an Eddie Murphy movie, and if I want to know if it's funny, I look and see who else is in the movie that's funny. Eddie is funny, but it's all about the movie he's trying to make, whether or not his character is funny. I expected this movie to be funny because of Chris Redd and Robin Thede and Nick Offerman a little bit as well. But Chris Redd and Robin Thede, so they were the two villagers. I forget
Oh
the
yeah,
two
yeah.
villagers'
The
name.
guy and the girl.
Yeah, them. I expected them to really be the biggest comedy of this movie. They gave a good, decent amount of it, but yeah.
I didn't find her to be
So I get what you're
particularly
saying.
funny.
If I'm being totally honest, I don't think she is your kind of funny. But I appreciate.
What do you mean, you people?
What do you mean, you people?
Robin Thede and Chris Redd, in my opinion, both lend a theatrical type of comedy, like a type of humor. Like they are very demonstrative in their humor. So being familiar with their kind of like how they both kind of put out in their comedy, I was able to,
Sketch
in my
comedy.
opinion, yeah, thank you. They're both really good at sketch comedy.
Well, she's a sketch comedic.
Both of them are. He's on SNL and she has her own show on HBO.
Oh, I didn't know he was on SNL. I don't watch that at all. I just know when I was looking through the movie, I saw that she was part of a Black Lady sketch comedy. I think it's on HBO.
She's the creator. Yeah, she's one who created. But so essentially, they both do the same thing, but for different networks. And because of that, I was like, okay, they understand how to keep the funny and keep it family friendly at the same time. So I expected them to be able to mix and match a lot of that, which I think they did a decent amount of. But at the same time, the last scene with the two of them, and I know I just went back to reviewing, but the last scene with the two of them where they almost like partially kissed, but I was glad they didn't do that because that was weird. But anyway, back to the end of where we are. So that gives us a 20 out of 30, which gives us about a ballpark of about a 6.8?
6.666.
Yeah, so we're gonna say 6.7.
That might be one of the highest rated movies this year.
No,
possibly.
It's almost. Yeah. But I mean, it's 6.666 because it's about the God and the devil. So,
yeah,
there you go.
See how they
I like God.
Yeah. All right. Well, are we done?
I believe we are finished here, boys. You know what I'm saying? We got that candy cane lane in going down to El Segundo. But no, we appreciate everybody for hanging out with us, coming through, listening to us, and paying attention to all of the Screen Time Continuum. This is that time of the episode for you guys to go ahead and take a look at your screen, take a gander, a listen, and or just, I don't know, tell your friends to check out the Screen Time Continuum if nothing else. But in the meantime, you can look at your screen and find out all of the other shows that we have. You guys can always check those out. There are plenty of shows available for you. We have If Numbers Could Talk, Strawberries and Coffee, and King_of_Ilion. Both of those are on Twitch. We also have Exofathom and This Merry Moment. Of course, you're here at the Screen Time Continuum, and every show that we have is continuously going to keep you entertained. Doesn't matter when you catch an episode, doesn't matter how old or new an episode is, you'll be thoroughly entertained because what we are here to do is give you guys something good to listen to, talk about, share with your friends. Yeah, that. But for the most part, we appreciate you guys for tuning in to the Screen Time Continuum. This has been our review of Candy Cane Lane. For the Screen Time Continuum, my name is Keelan.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Mike.
And that might be the shortest outro I've done in a long time.
Yeah.
Hey now.